My name is Terri Lovell. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at McGill University. I work in Professor Gonzalo Cosa's lab, where we work on single molecule microscopy to elucidate complex biological processes. For what equity, diversity, and inclusion means to me, I think really comes down to never being limited. And by that I mean, never being limited based on what you look like, how somebody perceives you, but really considering that everybody is an individual who comes from different walks of life and have different experiences. So understanding those parts of a person and understanding that they're an individual, and then, providing support and opportunities to everybody so that they can kind of achieve whatever, they set their minds to. So EDI has impacted my life throughout my career in science. I am from a really small town in Newfoundland. It's a little indigenous community of 500 people actually, so everybody knows everybody. But while growing up there, the education wasn't something that you would see in a city or even kind of on the mainland. So I never took a biology class in high school. I never had that opportunity. I did physics in a janitor's closet with 4 other people online. So it was a really unique experience. And but yeah, those things definitely, I didn't realize how different that was until I left the island. And then I realized, this is maybe not normal for everybody else. So I had some catching up to do, definitely, in terms of learning what I needed to know to succeed. But also when I did my master's degree at the University of Oregon, I spent some time in industry there, and I feel like throughout that experience of my master's and my industrial experience, I had people literally tell me that I couldn't do something because I was a woman, straight to my face. Which I guess appreciate your honesty, but at the same time, that really shouldn't dictate what I'm capable of doing. So I did have quite a few of these experiences throughout my career, so I would say that kind of impacted me, but really just drove me to try and support people who are much less fortunate than I am and, have incurred much bigger barriers than I did. So I've always been an active part of EDI committees and women in science specifically throughout my time in science as well. So EDI is important not just in the structural biology CRBS community, but specifically to us, because really when you have a diverse group of researchers and scientists and people, you get a lot of different perspectives. So I've seen this time and time again, when you have a diverse group that you work with, somebody has an idea or has an approach that you've never thought of, and you've never even considered to look at the problem in that way until they bring it up, and you're like, wow, that's a really good idea. I never would have thought that. So I think it's really important to be able to be innovative in science and to be able to really drive the center forward in what we can achieve and the type of science that we do. I think EDI can change the field of structural biology here at McGill in a lot of different ways. So if people see that we are putting a really strong effort into EDI and we're really committed to changing the way that we operate, that's going to attract a different group of talented people. So being able to show people that we're serious about this commitment is really important to get, researchers from all over the world. I mean, when you look at where am I gonna do my next postdoc, or where am I gonna do my PhD studies, those are all things that people consider is this an environment that I'm going to be welcome into, that I'm gonna enjoy? So I think that ensuring that we keep our EDI focus always in focus, we're going to attract a lot more talented people, which again is going to drive innovation and really cutting edge science within the structural biology department. A truly equitable CRBS would be one that really considers, like I said before, that everybody comes from a different walk of life. Everybody has had different experiences to get to where they are today. And a lot of this also comes back to my history and how I grew up, that, you know, generally people are given awards for having straight A's, but you don't know that that person was really given the opportunity to have straight A's. So coming from such a small Indigenous community, you know, maybe that's not really possible for me to be able to get straight A's in biology if I do that for the first time in university. So being able to recognize that, you know, those grades, they're not really set in stone, and there's a lot more to a person, and being able to be receptive to the person giving you information that, hey, you know, I don't have straight A's, but I don't have straight A's because I wasn't given the tools to be able to get straight A's. And so this is one of the things that we're also trying to implement in our award processes, where we are, you know, not just taking into account the fact that you need to have a 4.0 GPA. We can lower those GPA requirements for people who didn't have access to really great education or had some challenges within their education. So we also allow applicants to give a statement, you know, indicating any places where they might have had challenges throughout their education and their degree. Another thing that is relevant to me is I'm a mother of a little girl. She's 2 years old. And so I had a very complicated pregnancy, and that took a lot of time away from my job. So being able to play that into, you know, how somebody perceives my productivity when I'm applying for faculty positions, that's really important. So that is another thing, you know, with CRBS that we're taking into account when we assess how to distribute awards, because parental leave is something that it takes a lot of time and effort for sure. And I think the CRBS, we're doing really good. There's a lot of effort still to go, but we're really putting this at the forefront of our mind. And I see that here within McGill as well. My boss has been amazingly supportive throughout my time when I was pregnant and after having my child as well. So I think all of this together, you know, McGill is really coming together as a community who really cares about EDI efforts, and we're trying to do better in that regard.